then we'll get started. All right, let's do it. Man, picture is so much better on YouTube. All right. Okay. So let me turn this music off. So, all right. Welcome back. This is show number 2. I'd like to get a couple of shows in today. Um, I think I'm going to do the face show and the leadership and sales show back to back. So that's exciting. It'll be my first sales and leadership and sales show. And that's going to be featuring Vince Lombardi. But now we've got Bible study. So let's do it. Okay. I think we should start with prayer. So, in the name of our Most High God, in the name of the One, in the name of our beloved example, our beloved Lord Jesus the Christ, we are so grateful for everything you do for us. And I ask now, everyone that is listening to this now and in the future, I pray for every single one of these souls. God has to understand these words, to envelop these words, to live these words. Give us guidance in our life in every way and at every time. Protect us, protect our families, and protect us spiritually and physically. And I ask that the Holy Spirit add, subtract, adjust, or multiply any of these prayers. We are so grateful. In the name of Jesus the Christ, we pray. Amen. All right, let's continue. We're going to Proverbs 10. So if you want to follow along, go ahead. Okay, so I don't think I'm going to take as long today. Yesterday was about an hour and a half. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to read through it, obviously the whole thing, and then I'm going to pick out a couple things that I'm going to keep. Not that I'm going to keep, that I'm going to highlight. Okay. Contrast of the righteous and the wicked. The Proverbs of Solomon: a wise man makes a father glad, but a foolish son is grief to his mother. Ill-gotten gains do not profit, but righteousness delivers from death. God will not allow the righteous to hunger, but he who rejects the craving of the wicked. Poor is he who works with a negligent hand, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. He who gathers in summer is a son who acts wisely, but he who sleeps in harvest is a son who acts shamefully. Blessings are on the head of the righteous, but the mouth of the wicked conceals violence. The memory of the righteous is blessed, but the name of the wicked will rot. The wise of heart will receive commands, but a babbling fool will be ruined. He who walks in integrity walks securely, but he who perverts his ways will be found out. He who winks the eye causes trouble, and is a babbling fool will be ruined. The mouth of the righteous is the fountain of life, but the mouth of the wicked conceals violence. Hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all transgressions. On the lips of the discerning wisdom is found, but a rod is for the back of him who lacks understanding. Wise men store up knowledge, but with the mouth of the foolish ruin is at hand. The rich man is wealth in his fortress. The ruin of the poor is their poverty. The wages of the righteous is life. The income of the wicked is punishment. He is on the path of life who heeds instruction, but he who ignores reproof goes astray. He who conceals hatred has lying lips, and he who spreads slander is a fool. But there are many words, transgressions, there, but I apologize. I just thought of something I need to do to fix this picture. All right. When there are many words, transgression is unavoidable, but he who restrains his lips is wise. The tongue of the righteous is as choice silver. The heart of the wicked is worth little. The lips of the righteous feed many, but fools die for lack of understanding. It is the blessing of God that makes rich, and he adds no sorrow to it. Doing wickedness is like sport to a fool, and so is wisdom to a man of understanding. What the wicked fears will come upon him, but the desire of the righteous will be granted. When the whirlwind passes, the wicked is no more, but the righteous has an everlasting foundation. Like vinegar to the teeth and smoke to the eyes, so is the lazy one to those who send him. The fear of the Lord prolongs life, but the years of the wicked will be shortened. The hope of the righteous is gladness, but the expectation of the wicked perishes. The way of God is a stronghold to the upright, but ruin to the workers of iniquity. The righteous will never be shaken, but the wicked will not dwell in the land. The mouth of the righteous flows with wisdom, but the perverted tongue will be cut out. The lips of the righteous will bring forth what is acceptable, but the mouth of the wicked, what is perverted. You want a treat, puppy? All right, here you go. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I will be right back. I'm actually going to use my a newish phone. I bought it last year. I think it's a good phone. It was $1,600. But anyway, I'm going to try it on this because it's important that I. Facebook seems to be important for my launch. Okay. So anyway, I will be right back. I'm going to switch off live on this old school iPad mini that I used to use for bodybuilding pictures when I worked out. But I'm gonna switch it to my phone. All right, so hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, this picture looks a lot better. Perception is everything. And if I'm going to run the worst version, I should not be doing it with Facebook. Um, Instagram would also be big for me if I still had my original Instagram, but I don't. Oh, and here is a book that I'm going to be highlighting on the women's show. I'm excited to go through it with you guys. Just came in. So anyway, back to Proverbs. So there's a lot of things I think there's a couple more things that I'm going to cover than I wanted to, but that's all right because it's important. So let's get to it. All right, the Proverbs of Solomon, a wise man. Okay, the Proverbs of Solomon. Solomon is a very, 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 very interesting character. And when I said that I have studied many different religions and many different spiritual paths, I was not lying. I have in my possession like 4 magic books that allegedly Solomon wrote, right? Um, According to the Bible, he controlled demons and he did the ceremonies to control these demons. So, yeah, we're going to get into it. I can't give you anything definitive on him. I love that he prayed for wisdom. I love that he made that his number one priority. And quite honestly, it resonates with me. I think it's the most important thing. So to me, there's nothing more important than wisdom. In fact, wisdom is the number one thing I'm looking for in the woman I intend to marry. And if I don't find her, then I don't find her. wisdom's the most important thing to me. So Solomon is a very interesting character, and on this channel, the Faith Show, we are gonna dig into all of that. Not today, obviously. I'm giving you a little taste of it, but we're gonna get into all these books I have. Some of them I haven't even read at all, and because I believe we need to know, we need to arm ourselves with knowledge and truth. And anybody that tells me that there's only one source of truth, I reject 100%. This is my philosophy, and I hold this for everything. 100% truth is never, ever found in one place. It's not. It's never going to be that. It's never been that way. It's never going to be. Well, in this time, it's not that way. I can't speak to the past, but I can tell you now. I'm sure when Jesus was walking among us that he was part of that 100% truth, but for the most part. Okay. A wise son makes a father glad, but a foolish son is a grief to his mother. And really, it's a grief to the mother and father. If you have kids, and I'm sure, actually, I'm 100% sure, I was a wild child in grade school. Nobody could ever rein me in. Does that make sense? So I got in a lot of trouble, and my integrity code, my moral code, did not lock into place until my 23rd birthday. It was like a switch the day I turned 23. Pretty interesting. And right before that, I was partying every single night, 7 days a week. Me and my friend Brian, we thought we were so cool. I had a brand new Escalade. This was back in 2002. And we went and partied on 6th Street in Austin, Texas, every night. Ridiculous. And I'm not saying that I was really bad and immoral or anything like that. But I had a code back then, but it wasn't as strong. So when I did something that didn't feel right, I stopped doing it. But puppy, it's okay. Here you go. I stopped doing it. But when I hit 23, that's when I've strived to walk the path. So I am 100% confident I was a grief to my mother and my father. I threw parties when they went out of town. I drank way too much. I got in lots of fights. I never started a fight. I've never thrown the first punch. But I'm not. I was not. I'm sure now it'd be worse for somebody, but back then I was not someone that you wanted to pick a fight with. It didn't matter what the size of the person was. And I've fought lots of gang members, unfortunately, very unfortunately. So I was a grief. I was foolish as a teenager, 100%. And it pains me to look back at some of my actions. So it's true. When you've got a wise son, a wise daughter, oh man, it's got to be the dream, right? Where everything is just taken care of and you've nothing to worry about. But here's the key. Wise children, they don't really just arrive wise. If they do, it is extremely rare. Most wise boys and girls that grow into wise men and women, they're taught from the beginning. And if by the grace of God I ever have children, you better believe every single day, no matter what. And it's not going to be for me. I'm gonna read Proverbs with my kids. It's going to happen. What's interesting is I've had girlfriends that were, allegedly hardcore Christians, but I had so much trouble getting them to do daily Bible study with me. It was a real battle. um, so, but this guides us. This guided me. And it guides, I think, anybody that is really praying for wisdom, like Solomon did, and praying to understand and walk this path. Guess what? It shapes us. It shapes us from the inside. And remember, parents, I went over it yesterday. We need to set boundaries with our children, and we need to start them off right, because if we let them have these out of control boundaries, they never leave, and those turn into foolish kids and foolish adults. So anyway, it's on us. We're the ones that are leading the next generation. And if you are in that generation, make it happen. Jump in here. Okay, ill-gotten gains do not profit, but righteousness delivers from death. Now, this is something I want to talk about, and I kind of got into it yesterday, if you were with me. I was talking about the Kali Yuga. I didn't name it, but that's what I was talking about. And by the way, the legend is that it's not, by the way, a table. I was just using my own example of the legs for a table. The real legend is in the teachings, in the Hindu religion. The real teachings is it's cow's legs. So in the first age, the cow has all four legs. And in that next stage, it only has three. And the next stage, it only has two. And then the next stage, it only has one. And if this is real, this cycling of ages, I believe we're in the cycle of the cow with one leg, where it's all out chaos. So we're seeing a lot of people that have ill-gotten gains that are succeeding. And it's because of this age. But remember, that's a test to us. See, the age that tests our faith is not the age when Jesus Christ is among us and everybody's orderly and polite and doing the right thing and, hanging out with angels. That's the easy age. There's no test of endurance in those ages. It's these ages. It's the ones when, this, like, for these girls, it tears me apart that 10% of Gen Z, according to several polls I've seen, are doing prostitution. Only fools is prostitution. And they try to make it good. Oh, this is a way to liberate women and empower. It's not. It's not an empowerment situation in any way, shape, or form. There was a thing that's going on in Portland. There was another ICE shot some more people yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever it was. But they were gang members. They were Trende Aragua gang members, and I hate gang members. I hate mobsters. I don't believe in taking advantage of business owners, taking advantage of politicians, not only threatening to kill families, actually killing families if somebody doesn't do what they're told. Why are these people being defended? This gang member tried to run over an ICE agent that was arresting him to deport him. And yeah, here you go, puppy. Here you go. And they got shot because they tried to run over an ICE agent. Like, why? Why are people defending this? This is not the correct way. What do you think? I'm against gangs. I really am. I'm excited that I don't like I hate dictators. I hate communism. I hate socialism. Socialism always turns into communism. That's why I hate socialism. But anyway, it's we're in a whack place. So we're seeing a lot of people that have gotten ill-gotten gains that are very successful, and we're seeing a lot of people that have done righteousness that are not delivered from death. They're delivered to death. I myself have been bumped out of so many companies for doing the right thing. And people lied about me about things that I didn't do to save their own necks. So look, this is a test. We are in a mad world right now. We are in a dark world right now. This is the best time. What's wrong, puppy? Well, this is the last one, okay? We're in a dark world right now. And we need to understand that this is a way to strengthen us for the other side. Because I call it the other side of the veil. The other side of the veil, this heaven and hell. And I'm going to get very deep into both of those down the road. Because again, I'm a maniac when it comes to books. See this behind me? This is nothing compared to what I have. I've got thousands of books. Thousands. What's wrong? Puppy, that's me. That's Jordan. That's Jordan, puppy. No, that's Jordan and Omega. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's all right, puppy. Okay. Next line. God will not allow the righteous to hunger, but he will reject the craving of the wicked. For me, I can attest to this. I have been in some of the most horrible situations imaginable. I've walked into gang territory with my dear friend Rocio, and walked out with 2,000 apps with social security numbers and credit cards. With, I don't know if you've seen the neighborhoods, but the people that are in their front yard that are like, there's guns on the table, and they look like some very bad men, but also families, and everybody's just staring daggers at you. I went into a neighborhood in Puerto Rico. This neighborhood, the police wouldn't go there. I tried to get the police to go there before I went there to do it, because I thought the right thing to do was to go. Basically, one of my leaders' cars was broken into and all these applications were stolen. My company didn't want to do anything about it. The police didn't want to do anything about it. So I did something about it. That was just one of so many situations I've been in where, I felt like I was taken care of. About, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, when I was on this truck driving adventure, I was put in a bad situation. I had somebody, I was going to sell, and actually I'm going to sign up for the membership. It's going to be part of what I'm doing in the future that I can't do currently because I need to watch out. But what it does is in every state, it shows you exactly what's going on in legislation. So this is the bills that are passed, just passed. This was the votes. This is who voted for. This is who voted against. These are the bills that are coming up. So all of that, I think it's a great cause myself. So, but I needed money, and I had Puppy with me, and I was living out of my truck because I had stopped driving commercial trucks with my CDL because I absolutely hated it. And I was promised that, if I go to 40 business owners, this was in Maine, in Portland, Maine area. And if I go to 40 business owners, I'm going to sign up at least 10 of them. So they sent one of their biggest experts with me over to coach me and teach me. And we went, hold on one second. Puppy wants to go out. And the head of this organization, or one of the heads, vice presidents or whatever, he promised me if I went to 40, I'm going to close 10 every single time if I have any sales skills whatsoever. So they sent the top guy in the Northeast to me. And we went to more than 40. We went to 80. And I needed 5 to stay basically on contract where they pay me to go do this. And I kept reiterating, like, I have nothing. So if this doesn't work, I need to know that you're not lying to me. If I go to 40 businesses, I'm going to get 10 sales. You're guaranteeing this. And, people lie. This constantly happens to me. I don't know why I still always believe people. But anyway, so the top guy in the Northeast, the number one guy, we go to 80 businesses. He signs up one. But here's the problem. It wasn't a full payment. It was a partial. And that partial didn't count towards my quota. So I was like, as good a cause as it is, this isn't going to work. And I was homeless. I was living out of my truck. I had no money. I tried to get a job driving locally, and that didn't work out because my CDL was not out of Maine at that moment. It was out of Montana. So they said that I lied about having the CDL, and they filed a lawsuit against me. So I'm homeless with puppy, living out of my truck, and I survived. And I really shouldn't have. I mean, I was in dire straits. So anyway, it's true. Do the right thing. God always has your back, always. Poor is he who works with a negligent hand, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. Let's look at negligence. I think our society right now, and the industry I just came from, there was a whole lot of this, is people doing as little as possible. They're just doing as little as possible. And I'm somebody, it's just the way I'm wired. I can't say it's this way with everything, but with a whole lot of things. There's you can't be perfect and excellent and everything. And I'm never perfect, but because there's a line to come up to. If you spend too much time on perfection, you're gonna have lots of problems. It's gonna suck. It's gonna waste too much time. It's not gonna be worth the time at a certain point. Once you get it to excellence, it does not need to be perfect, is what I'm saying. So what I see, in customer service, what I see in job, I'll give you an example. There's a dry cleaner. I'm a big fan of them. They've done good work for me in the past. I do so, believe it or not, all my sister and her family's wedding gifts during Christmas, I made them shirts, custom shirts. They were a huge hit. Where I did all the sewing. I didn't make the shirts. I just bought high quality shirts, and then I sewed on specific things that they love, that really match them. So anyway, I can sew, but I was afraid because I love hoodies. I love them. So I didn't want to ruin my hoodies. And so I brought them to this place to get them sewn on professionally, and I could sew them myself. I just didn't want to mess it up in any way, shape, or form. That all my hoodies are like over $100. So I go to pick them up, and they were also going to turn a couple of my fitted hats into snapback. They'd never done that, but I coached them on how to do it, gave them the videos, and I said, it's all right if you mess these up. But here's the problem. I wasn't worried about the hats because I know this is going to be their first time. And if they do a good job, I'm going to go bring them like 50 more hats to do that with. The reason why, by the way, is the hats that fit me the best are these flex hats, fitted flex hats, and they fit perfectly for a year. And then they get all loose and they look bad. But the bill just, it fits perfectly for me. So I'd like to find the solution if I can. But anyway, I go to pick up my sweatshirts after 3 weeks, and I think I'd left them 2 starter jackets, old school. When I was a kid, my 1980s, like Red Sox starter jacket. Oh, that was my favorite jacket I ever had. But I bought it for adult size on eBay. But I was having them sew some patches on it as well. And I have a Notre Dame starter jacket I bought, also same style, but I didn't have that when I was a kid. I didn't even know it existed. And then a couple more hoodies, 2 or 3 more hoodies, something like that. but they had ironed them on. They didn't sew them, and I had paid for it. It was $10 a patch, and they didn't sew it. They ironed it on, and I'm like, what's going on here? That it's falling off. This is supposed to be sewn on, and the owner was so embarrassed because everybody that knows me knows that I'm very competent and I'm not afraid to speak my mind. And he likes me. Most people like me, and by the grace of God, I'm very charismatic if I want to be. And he said, no, I'll fix it right away. So, but here's the thing, that's supposed to be a high quality place, and he was trying to give me shoddy work. Do not be this incompetent fool in the workplace. Even if you don't like your job, become great at it. Like, I'll tell you what, when I was down and out in Portland, and I don't know why, but it was impossible for me to get a serving job for some reason. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen. And I took a job as a cook at Buffalo Wild Wings. Now, I'd never been a cook before, but I looked at it as an opportunity to improve my own skills on the grill, cooking burgers, right? So I did my best to do the best work that I possibly could. I don't like taking shortcuts. I hate myself when food's brought to me and it tastes bad. So even in that horrible job that I had for about a month and a week before I got back to Montana, it's like I still wanted to be excellent. And there's too many people that think shoddy work, negligent work is all right. It's not. But especially in this, there's too many negligent Christians. And again, by the grace of God, you give me a crack in something somebody doesn't say, and something somebody does say, in facial expressions, and the way they hold their hands, and the way people are around them. And it's like, to me, it's like an open book. I could just read the whole thing. And so anyway, there's too many people that I meet as Christians that aren't serious. They're not serious. Like, I'll give you an example, and I love this. This is one of my favorite statues, and I have a bunch of them. It's all about parables, everybody. This is Jesus at the door. And I feel like there's too many Christians that are going to be knocking, but they're not going to get answered because it's all lip service. They're not serious about their faith. They think it's a social club or something. And look, God knows our hearts. That Egyptian, you want to hear something crazy about the Egyptian religion? So I'm at the doctor's yesterday, and one of the nurses comes in, and she's got a Catholic, like, those like rectangles with saints on it. And then underneath it, I can't see it exactly, but I think it's an ankh. And if you don't know what an ankh is, it's the cross where it's got the loop at the top. It's an ancient cross from Egypt. And I hear what that circle at the top is for. It's allegedly for infinity. So it's God's presence, light, whatever, coming down in that infinity structure. But anyway, I'm curious because I'm like, an ankh and a saint's rectangle. So I asked her about it. And she said, oh, well, my boyfriend gave it to me. And you guys know me. I have 100 questions about everything. So I'm like, well, what do you mean your boyfriend why'd your boyfriend give it to you? Oh, well, that's his religion. I'm like, well, what religion is he? Oh, he's the Egyptian religion. And I said, well, I thought the Egyptian religion was Muslim. What are you talking about? No, she said the ancient Egyptian religion. Did you know people are still following that? I didn't know that. But anyway, the reason I bring this up is in their philosophy, the Book of the Dead, when you die, and I can't remember the person's name at the moment, the god's name, but they measure the heart by a feather. And if your heart is not is heavier than the feather, you're going to hell, basically, the underworld, whatever they call it. I can't remember. But that's the same thing here. God knows our heart. So God knows when we're going all out for his cause and when we're not. Look, we might be able to get away with it at our jobs where we halfway do our jobs. And I see way too many marriages where the husband or wife or both are just halfway into the marriage. They're not 100% committed to each other and making it happen and making it work and loving on each other. Even if the love is gone, doesn't matter. It's just the love should still be there. So anyway, God knows we have to strive to be diligent. Poor is he who works with a negligent hand. Remember, that's in our job and in our faith. But the hand of the diligent makes rich. Again, that is in what we do for a living and for a family. But to me, it's most important. Here, I'm just going to grab my other Bible. It'll make it a lot easier for me. Hold on 1 second.
Viewers like you make this program possible. So,
Okay. I've got always a lot of things going on at the same time. Okay. Our faith. Okay. Next is he who gathers in summer is a son who acts wisely, but he who sleeps in harvest is a son who acts shamefully. Now, I talked about this yesterday, but let's talk about it again. You're going to learn one of my biggest teaching philosophies on my teams that I built was repetition is the mother of all learning. I drilled into the head of my team, especially my leaders, but the whole team. I drilled fundamentals. I drilled them because, and after I had my little collapse with the company I was working at before, which hopefully I can still help them sell their products, and I can keep having my leaders build a big downline because I love the company, love the owners, love the product, love the comp plan. But there was some friction. First, it was total collapse of the person that I committed to, that we were in a partnership to build. She completely backed out on the contract. But there was a lot of friction with the company too after that breakup. So I was, for a time, I was actually going to just say, screw it. I'm going to do it underground. I'm not going on Facebook. I'm not going on Instagram. I'm just going to build this to 7 figures. I'm not going to build the company to 5 billion. I'm just going to build myself and my leaders to big incomes. Help a few of them get to 7 figures. A whole bunch of them get to a lot more than that. So that was my plan. But part of that plan was I was breaking down the legends of network marketing. I was pulling audios and books from places you can't even imagine. But one of the things I also was in deep study mode on was the military. You see, I wanted to know, how does the Army bring in a bunch of knuckleheads that take no responsibility, have no discipline, and then turn them into soldiers that are competent on the field of battle and follow orders? I wanted to know. I'm like, how do they do this? So the first thing I tried to do was get some books, because that's always my go-to, but I couldn't find any. So my AI, just so you know, her name is Alara. And the way that I've done it is I've built it a continuous thread so that I don't have to keep starting over. So she knows who I am, knows what I stand for, knows what I want to do, knows my expectations. So I had Alara start digging in to military strategies all over the place. And I wanted to know, how do they do this? And one of the big takeaways I got from this was that the Army drills in the fundamentals so hard and so repetitively that when they've got bullets flying by their heads and there's bombs going off and grenades and people are dying next to them and getting their face shot off, that the soldiers still boom, boom, boom. They know exactly what to do because now they're not thinking. It's been programmed into them. And that's why I think reading Proverbs every single day for years is so important, because this is not, again, something we can grasp in one sitting. It's not. It's something that takes time, you know? And it's the same thing with me. If you're deciding that you want to keep following me and be a supporter, you know, you want to take this knowledge, take this wisdom, it's not going to happen overnight. This is not a fly by night channel. I said yesterday, once I put out what I feel needs to be put out, the truth, I'm going to shut it down. There's going to be no more shows. But this isn't going to happen quickly. There's so much. There's so much. But it needs to be repetitive. So, like with this, he who gathers in summer is a son who acts wisely, but he who sleeps in harvest is a son who acts shamefully. This is one of those repetitive messages. We need to prepare. We need to prepare. We need to do everything possible. Everything. Look, we all need 6 months worth of living expenses in our bank accounts. We all need, look, for me, it's years. This is what I think. I think we need years worth of food. We need those storehouses filled. I'm a big fan of yearly subscriptions because I want it already paid for. And if I get the chance, and I do it sometimes, like my favorite YouTube for Notre Dame is Irish Breakdown with Brian Driscoll. He let me pay for 3 years. So I'm paid up until December 31st, 2028. Because I want it out of the way. We want to prepare the way. And it's in a lot of things. Right now, we are living in tumultuous political times. There are so many things happening right now I've never seen in my life. Our debt is uncontrollable at the moment. 30 plus trillion in debt. Now, my hope is that these tariffs are legit and that much money is really coming in, and we can start knocking out the debt half by half by half every year until it's wiped out again. But if it's not, what if it isn't? What if, for example, the United States, what if BRICS is successful and gets rid of the petrodollar and everybody starts trading in whatever home country currency they want to? People do not realize what that would do to the everyday American. It would destroy this wealth that we have. Like, we have a lot of wealth in this country. Even poor people live like rich people. Compare the poorest class in the United States to people living in Thailand and the Philippines and Africa. It's going to put us in a tough situation. All I'm saying is you need to have a plan B. Just like God says right here, he who gathers in summer is a son who acts wisely. We don't want to be caught with our pants down, waddling around when we need to be sprinting. We need to be prepared. And again, I think there are way too many people. He who sleeps in harvest is a son who acts shamefully. Guys, work ethic, work ethic. And here's the thing about work ethic is, to me, it's all about belief again. I've always got to find a reason to do something. If I can't find a reason to do something, I don't want to do it. So the cook was a good example. I was genuinely interested in being a better cook. I was. Um, Actually, what would be fun is to work at a barbecue place. I'd love to be great at barbecue. But anyway, like that's why these channels are so important to me, because to me there's a bigger purpose in all these shows, every single one of them. This show, the faith show, the leadership and sales show, the culture show, the sports show, and that's the least of them, but that I still am going to be dropping a lot of incredible wisdom there. um the men's show, the women's show, and then the main show that I can't start with. So to me, all of these are important. And even at that lowly, and here's the thing, if I don't like something, I don't do it very long. I don't last very long. So, but if I believe in it, I work hard at it. So find reasons to work hard. Find a reason to get passionate about what you do. Um, I Even at restaurants, I got passionate about it. Um, I did a lot of good when I was a server. I did. I took a lot of time with people. I was more like a bartender giving advice than I was a food server. Um, anyway, it's easier to be great at things when you find a reason to work hard at it. And the harder you work, the more you're going to stretch so that your work ethic gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Like for me, on my last run with the company I was just in, I am not lying. I was working minimum 17 hours a day, Monday through Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday, usually I worked 10 hours and 10 hours. But at the end, because I was getting worn out, I was working 10 hours on Saturday and then conked out on Sunday, like just sleeping the whole day. Um, so, so it's easier. It's easier. And I think too many people, and I'm not putting myself in this picture because I have an incredible work ethic, but too many people do not prepare for the future and work hard. To me, preparation is the most important thing. And I've spent a lot of my money on preparing, compared to, you know, what looks good now. That's what I did in my 20s. That is not what I did in my 30s and 40s. Okay. He who, we just did that one. Blessings are on the head of the righteous, but the mouth of the wicked conceals violence. Um, yeah, I definitely believe this. You know, look, I'm not a fan of being a victim. I think victims are weak minded. But I will say this, I'm not trying to act like a victim here. I'm just trying to make a point. I've been through some pretty tough stretches in my life. Um, but again, God has looked out for me. I've always felt, even when I was a hellion, even when I was doing beer runs to the same store in the same nights in high school, um, I knew I knew I had help, and I feel like I took advantage of it. I'll give you another example. When I was 20 when I got my first sports car. It was a Mercedes SLK 320. It was brand new, and I drove that thing 100 everywhere. I'm telling you, everywhere. The fastest I got it up to was 185. It was on the 5 freeway in that big stretch. I went to Chico State University, and I was from Ojai, California, so I drove back and forth a lot between there. And what's interesting to me was I never got in trouble for going that fast. I outran multiple cops going over 120, but I never got in trouble for it. What was interesting to me was I ended up getting my license suspended because I was being a ding dong, and I would get tickets for 65 and a 60, 55 and a 50, 45 and a 40, and I got my license suspended. But I never got in trouble for the big things. Again, I just felt like, blessings are on the head of the righteous. I just felt like God is with me. But the mouth of the wicked conceals violence, and this is it's not just like they're going to murder us, but we've been, at least I've been taken advantage by a lot of people who just straight up lied to me and ruined a lot of stuff in my life, relationships, um, money, jobs, businesses. So um, it's true. It's true. You got to be looking for the concealment. The memory of the righteous is blessed, but the name of the wicked will rot. And I hope so. I hope so. The wise of heart will receive commands, but a babbling fool will be ruined. Okay, I want to talk about this. And I talked a little bit about this yesterday. So I consider myself a teacher, a really, really incredible teacher at that. So I always want to help people. I even want to help people. I really like I have so many friends that I love that are just completely unvirtuous, that have just done some of the most disgusting things to other people that you could ever imagine. And somehow I still love them and like them and am friends with them. Um, but here's the thing. I learned that I can't always help them. I learned the hard way because I got a lot of guff for, you know, indiscriminately speaking out. And believe it or not, this new version of me is way more censored than my 20s and 30s version of myself. And oh, look, my Whole Foods order just got here. Um, isn't that awesome that we can get groceries delivered to our house for $10 a month on Amazon? Incredible. So anyway, we're I used to correct everybody. I used to try to help everybody. And I got in a lot of trouble for it. So we I can't say this for a fact, I don't know, but I can say for myself. And I think that most people have an inner voice. So I just listen. I listen to what people say. Now I don't always do this, but I do it quite a bit now. Um, well, I do it all the time now when it doesn't affect me. But when it affects me, no, I'm jumping in. Um, but for others, it doesn't affect me whatsoever. Before, I would go in and try to give advice and, try to help them. Now, I just listen. I know what the solution is, but I just listen. Share or don't share. I can feel it. I can quietly hear that inner voice. See, where it says the wise of heart will receive commands. This is what I do with homeless people. If I just they ask me for money, I stop. If I hear the command, give them money, I take out I take out money and I give it to them. Even some bums. And again, this has nothing to do with me. This is making the point here, okay? I heard the voice. Give this person money. And I remember there was a bum sleeping. He was asleep. But I heard the command. So I took out I do the thing, and I just took out $20 and I tucked it in his jacket. It was a command as far as I'm concerned, and I listen. I'm coachable. I'm coachable to God. Um, but a babbling fool will be ruined. Um, I hope so. I see way too many fools in power myself, but I have seen a lot of fools ruined too. So that's always nice. He who walks in integrity walks securely, but he who perverts his ways will be found out. And that's the thing. Like, I've been looking at a lot of the nonsense going on the world political stage since I was 23. So that was in 2003. And it's been clear as day to me the entire time. But many things that people used to call me a conspiracy theorist for are proven facts today. And I'm grateful that the lies are finally starting to be shown for what they are, lies, and not lies as truth. So I'm grateful for that. He who winks the eye causes trouble, and a babbling fool will be ruined. Um, I've never really gotten this one. Uh, I really haven't. It's definitely caused me to not wink as much. That is 100% because you know I have friends of mine that are really good people, and they, for the most part, do good things. I see them wink, so uh, I just I don't agree with that, but that's all right. Maybe it means something else. Maybe one of these days we'll find the real meaning there. Maybe it's just translated poorly. That's probably what it is. Okay. Um, the mouth of the righteous is a fountain of life, but the mouth of the wicked conceals violence. So this is so important. Um, Again, one of the reasons I'm doing this, I think the easiest path, what would have been the easiest path for me to get to, 2, 3, 4 million subscribers on YouTube and build a huge following would have, if I would have just focused on sports. 100% believe that. But I don't see a big enough, like, it's not helpful. Sports is helpful, but it's not helpful enough. So I wasn't going to do it. But like this, I know there's a lot of what I'm saying today that you've never heard before, that you've never learned, that you had no clue about. But I'm going to have a whole bunch of shows like this. So, truth. Do not leave truth within. I put on my Facebook, I dropped some hints that I was launching this business. I said, I'm going to reveal my private thoughts. I'm going to put them out there. So if you've got truth, and here's the thing, some of these ding dongs, they treat foolishness like truth. Use some discernment, please, please. Okay. But the mouth of the wicked conceals violence. Look, Venezuela. Let's talk about Venezuela. The United States and the oil companies spent billions and it would be trillions in today's dollars to set up an oil network for that country. Okay. And Venezuela was 100% the richest country from south of the United States of America. Richer than Mexico, richer than any country in Central America, richer than any country in South America. They were thriving. They were thriving. The whole economy. It was very similar to the United States, believe it or not. And Chavez and then Maduro, they sold the population. They said the United States is stealing from us. They're stealing our wealth. They're taking our money. They're stealing it from us. We need to take it back. And then they started highlighting the rich people in Venezuela. And they said, those people shouldn't have more than you. They're taking from you. We all should be wealthy. And they were, just like the United States. Even poor, not homeless people, but a lot of homeless people don't actually even want to live in homes, believe it or not. And I've done some charity work with homeless organizations. So here's the thing. They sold the population on you're going to have more of everything. But what they didn't say was that they were going to start killing anybody that had any disagreements with the government. That they were going to put in prison anybody that had any disagreements with the government. That people weren't going to have food. That these amazing community grocery stores with free food, and you're going to have all the food you need. But instead, people went to having a tenth of the food that they used to have before Chavez stole the United States oil operations. And there were a lot of people killed. And there's a reason why the Venezuelans are cheering in the streets in Venezuela, cheering in the streets of the United States, cheering in the streets all around the world. I don't know if you know Ana Navarro. She's one of those hosts on that show called The View. Allegedly, it's a news show. But even she was talking about how amazing it was that Maduro was taken out. And if she's saying something like that, okay, those dictators concealed those socialists. See, those socialists were for the people. They were for the people, allegedly. They concealed the violence that was coming. Once they got power, that's when their true colors showed. Okay, let's go to the next part. Actually, that's it. I've gone long enough. I apologize. There's no James today. But, if you watch this, thank you. Appreciate it. Like I said, I think I bring a lot of value and a lot of different viewpoints that most people would never, ever say, even if they believed it, but most people don't put these things together. So there's a lot more coming, a lot more truth, a lot more opening into what's happening. But my biggest purpose for this channel is to raise the character and raise the morality of our world. Not just the United States, the entire world. Yep, I guess I'm not going to be a Monroe doctrinist like the United States has gone back to right now, where we're focusing on, they call it our hemisphere, but I wouldn't label it that way. But we need to get back to doing what's right. We need to get away from this narcissistic behavior. What's best for me. And again, I despise socialism. I despise communism. That is not what I'm saying. But we do need to look out for our fellow man. All right. But at the same time, that does not mean putting up with their foolishness. We cannot let criminals, murderous criminals, get out of jail free just because we're trying to be sympathetic. That's more nonsense. But we can do our part, and it starts with us. We've got to be the living embodiment. We need to make sure we're putting God first. And when we put God first and we pray for wisdom and we pray to understand and we pray for guidance every day, changes us. And when we change ourselves, we change others around us. When I led, and the many teams that I led to great success, I always led by example. I was a front of the Army general. I outproduced all of my leaders at all times, even though I was helping them be one of the top producers in the company. Well, not all of them were top producers in the company, but those people too, and everybody else. So it's us. It's us. And I cannot recommend more. Get in the habit of reading Proverbs daily. Today was the 10th. We went through the 10th proverb, halfway through. But do this. Work on yourself. We've got to be the example because we live in a dark world right now. And I'm going to be talking a lot more about that as well. We might be in, a little spell where Satan's taking control of the wheel. So we need to do our part. So I'm not committing to it because I'm not healthy at the moment. I'm still recovering. And but I'm going to try. And like I said yesterday, me trying to do my best is better than most people's commitments. But I'm going to do my best to do the Proverbs of the day. Okay? And so expect me to be on here tomorrow, going through the 11th Proverbs, and hopefully we'll jump back into James, first chapter. I'm going to do here soon the Leadership and Sales Show. I've never studied Vince Lombardi. This is going to be my first time. I'm excited to learn. John Wooden's my guy, as you can see. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to do that today. I'm planning on it. And then I'm planning on doing the sports show today. I'm planning on doing the culture show today. That'll probably be all I do. That's a lot. And then after that, on Monday will be the 12th proverb, and then hopefully I can get the women's show and the men's show, the first edition of each of those on record in the archive. So that's what's coming. And again, thank you for tuning in. Remember, I look at this as we're on a journey together. We're going to be learning a lot of things together. I'm not claiming I know it all. I am claiming that I know most than most people, but I know nothing. But we've got a lot to learn because I know nothing. I know nothing. So we're going to do deep dives on a lot of different things. And remember, it's not about what I think. I don't want you making conclusions based on my statements. I want you making conclusions based on critically thinking through all the information that we're going through. And then you are coming to your own conclusion. That is the goal for every single one of my shows. But that will do it for the Faith Show today on Saturday, January 10th. Go Pats. Can't wait. There will be no shows tomorrow at 5 o'clock Pacific time when the Patriots take on the Chargers. Um, but I do intend to get a couple shows in, couple in today, couple in tomorrow, and then couple in Monday, and that will be the first show for each one. And then, like I said, I'm going to try to keep this Proverbs a day going with you because I keep telling you that you got to do Proverbs every day, and I want to help you. If it helps you by me doing it every day, then I want to help you. All right, take care. God be with you.